Welcome to another episode of Wellness Curated. I'm delighted to have you here today. And as you know, the aim of our podcast is to help you lead a healthier, happier, more hopeful life. And this season, we're focusing on spiritual well-being. And the subject of today's discussion is a very powerful subject. We're going to be talking on forgiveness. A lot of people hold on to issues, and then these issues affect their emotional balance. It affects their life, and it causes all kinds of negativity. It affects health and well-being. And that's why we have two extraordinary individuals with us today to talk us through forgiveness. We have with us Annie Choying Drolma. She's widely known as the Singing Nun. She's a humanitarian and the UNICEF National Goodwill Ambassador for Nepal. And we have the senior monk, Venerable Professor Medagoda Abhayatissa, thero, who teaches at the Sri Jayawardhanapura University. He teaches Pali, and he's also a very senior monk based in Colombo. Thank you both for being here with us today, and I'm very grateful to have your time. I want to jump right into questions. So there's a quote from Martin Luther King that I really like, which says, "Forgiveness is not an occasional act, it's a constant attitude." I'd like to begin this episode by getting your unique perspectives on forgiveness. So Anila, let's start with you. How do you define forgiveness?
I would rather have Venerable speak first because he's a senior and the professor. That would be much more appropriate to start with, I think.
So Venerable, please, you start then.
It's okay. You take your time, please. No problem.
According to our monastic system, we have a proper...
Okay, thank you.
Venerable.
Thank you. That's kind of you. Yes. Okay. I think forgiveness is a reducing of one's own burden. If the opposite of forgiveness is hatred or revenge, the person who been stuck in the mind will suffer more than the person who is not forgiven. Forgiveness is the most comforting. How it affects the person receiving forgiveness is determined by how he thinks about the offense he committed. But you who forgive are perfectly relieved to go off that oppressive thought. Then forgiveness makes your own mind free and happy.
Wonderful. That was such a lovely explanation. Anila, what about you?
I mean, I'm not a scholar, so I might not have the most sophisticated way of explaining how it what it is. But in my personal life, I mean, during my childhood, I experienced a lot of domestic violence and so on, and because of that, I started developing a lot of hatred in my heart towards my father and towards the men in our society, thinking that they were so unfair and and not nice. So, but when I started living with that kind of emotion, I was a very unhappy child, and I was growing up that way, and I was very bitter in my speech. I was very bitter in my thought process. Even though I took refuge in the monastery to become a nun, but that was solely reason for the sake of not having to get married in my life. But other than that, there wasn't any good reason for me to become a nun at that time. But then slowly, with the kindness and compassion of my teacher, I realized what it is to really live with the anger and very, very unhappy heart towards people who I thought that were not nice and unfair and so on. So that always made me feel like all the time I'm so ready to fight any given occasion, any opportunity that I received, anywhere that I see someone's talking about women or girls being inferior to the man, that would provoke me or make me the most angry person, and I would do anything to make sure that I win the fight and or argument and anything. So that really kind of made me very, very unhappy person. But then, as with the compassion and kindness of my teacher, I slowly learned that I was burning myself down. And as there is a saying, in order to chase a rat out, you should not burn down your house. Then slowly I started to think about why I'm angry, why I'm so angry. Not just angry, I'm very angry towards the society for the perception that they carry towards women and girls. So and then I started thinking about my father, why he was so unfair and why he treated me and my mother so unfairly and brutally and very violently and so on. But then I started to also analyze what it is that really caused him that kind of a behavior. And I slowly realized that it was also because of the domestic violence that he suffered during his childhood. And that's what he is like he's still under that spell. But in my case, I was so lucky and fortunate to have such a great teacher under whose guidance I was growing up, where I was able to enhance my analytical ability to go little deeper, go study a little deeper into what is happening to me and in my behavior, in my thought process, and why things as such as violence that takes place outward in other people's life. So that helped me to really develop a very very small scale little understanding towards others. So, and as I develop my understanding capacity towards this person's, like the story behind the behavior or the attitude which they are in, and which is causing them in a lot of suffering as well as causing suffering in our life. So I started to feel like, oh, that's sad. Oh, I feel sorry for them kind of feeling. And then I started to develop that kind of thinking and understanding more and more. And then also started to learn to focus on the goodness that this person carries, and that the goodness that they have also blessed me with, especially thinking about my father. He used to work really hard and made sure that I always had enough food to eat. But I started to realize there's something good about them too. And that gave me the space to feel a little bit relaxed and feel good about him. And as I slowly started to gather the courage and the strength to talk to him and to listen to him, and then throughout the year, slowly I developed more and more deeper sense of understanding towards him, and then also started to develop that sense of gratitude towards him for what he has done for me, and started to feel sorry for what he went through and that he is still suffering with, and started to think about how can I help him. And then I made little small efforts to find ways to help him, making him feel better and good and so on. So that developed the process of, I think, forgiving and healing within myself, which made me feel lighter and happier. So this is a living proof of in my own life how forgiving has really helped me to become a happier person.
Thank you. What a lovely story. Thank you for sharing that. Venerable, I wanted to ask you, how does forgiveness impact our ability to let go of the past and really live in the present moment?
Yes. Actually, forgiveness builds trust between the people. That is one thing. the one who has been forgiven has the ability to work closer to himself than before. And also, even the society looks at those who do not forgive, they look at them, they are as wrong people until he forgives. It sticks like a thorn in his mind, just like a thorn. An important part, actually, you have sent me earlier also, what is the important benefit he gets with this? He has very good, healthy mind. So to become a satisfied person, to become a happy person, the relief from hatred and forgiveness is very important. Yes.
So you think overall well-being, it helps with overall well-being and mental health? Forgiving
Yes, sure,
someone?
sure. Actually, that is the most important thing, because the important part of your question is mental health. The Buddha points out four aspects of health. You know, in World Health Organization, they have mentioned physical well-being, mental well-being, social well-being. These three things. It is coming in Dhammapada, Arogya Paramalabha, physical well-being, Santutti Paramandana, mental well-being, and Vissasa Paramanyati. You know, Vissasa. Vissasa means trust. That is social well-being.
Social well-being, yes.
Yeah. So the Buddha also mentions the same thing, Arogya Paramalabha, that is physical health. Santutti Paramandanam, that is mental health. Vissasa Paramanyati, social health, and Nibbanam Paramansukam, spiritual health. So this unforgiveness has a bad effect on on three of these aspects: social, spiritual, and mental health. Actually, in the Dharimuka Jataka, there is a Jataka called Dharimuka Jataka. The Buddha points out that increasing anger can lead to mental illnesses also. Person can have mental illness. There we can find that word, kodum mattaka. Kodum mattaka. If you don't forgive, then krodha. Krodha means hatred. It is increasing. Anger. It is increasing. Then because of that, you can become a you can have mental illness. So to have good mental health, one should forgive. That is not what you are doing for the others. That is what you are doing for yourself.
Very powerful. Thank you.
So when people are angry, you know, and filled with hatred, the body becomes very acidic, you know, which causes the inflammation. And that starts to damage the organs and the functionality of the physical condition, the physical work, physical, you know, work or well-being. So I think that's how it functions. A lot of the time nowadays, we very strongly focus on the environmental protection as well. We think of, you know, having a lot of trees planted, you know, saving nature and so on. But I think as long as you don't save your natural state of my inner quality inside, I think we won't be able to save anything outside, because it is all the manifestation or the reflection of your inner self, I guess.
Yes. But Anila, I want to ask you about the story you told us about your childhood. Because you're not the only person who bears, you know, who feels it difficult to forgive their parents. Very often, even if there's been nothing drastic, a lot of people sort of bear grudges, can't forgive their parents about something, or could be something that happened in their childhood that sticks in their mind that they can't forget. Might be a teacher, a well-meaning teacher or a well-meaning person said something to them, but they can't get it out of their mind. So why is it so difficult to forgive? Why do we as human beings find that, why do we hold on to grudges, and why can't we let go more easily?
I think we are so strongly in habitualization of exaggerating the bad incidents. You know, we always try to magnify the sizes of the incident, that the unfortunate incident that took place in our life, because we think that maybe this has happened to me only. Why? How could this happen to me? And especially when it is coming from parents, I think they are not able to accept that, because ideologically we strongly believe that parents are supposed to be there to give us the best, give us love, and so on. We never try to develop the understanding that they are also human being who comes from a different background or different story behind in their life. We never try to give them a space of understanding how they have been brought up, what has been their story in their life, how it might have affected their way of thinking, and how it has probably caused some trauma.
But how do we balance forgiveness with the desire for justice?
Yes, it's a very hard question. But I think justice is something society needs. By punishing wrongdoing, the victims can get some kind of mental relief. And also society also get same mental relief by punishing to the person who has done the wrong thing. Government has set up mechanism to deliver justice. It is a performance of punishment in the law book according to the offense. It separates the offender from the victim. In the other words, the victim is not allowed to hate the offender again. In fact, according to the Buddha, hatred does not reduce hatred. Nahi verena verani.
So you're saying forgiveness is about you, while the desire for justice is about society.
Yes.
So, there was this book written by Eva Kor. It was called The Twins of Auschwitz. And it was how she and her sister, who were ill-treated by the Nazis, how she managed to forgive them. So what would you say about something like that? I mean, people would say, why should the Nazis be forgiven?
You know Jataka stories, the Buddha's previous lives. There is a story, a son who forgave the king who killed his parents. Actually, a person commits crime either because of sometimes social reason, or sometimes he also a victim of the society itself.
Now, Venerable Thera, like Annie La shared a story with us about transformation through forgiveness, will you share a story as well that you came across in your life?
Actually, not one. We have many stories like that. In Sri Lankan book, it is called Rasavahini. In that Rasavahini book, I can see such kind of story. There was a thief named Harantika. That thief always stealing the robes of the monks of the temple. The donor, the Dayaka, caught him and tied him to a dead body. He told the people of the village not to open the doors because a ghost is coming tonight. Then Harantika went from house to house carrying the body. No one opened the door to remove the Harantika from the dead body. Harantika finally went to the temple where he is stolen every day the robes. The monk freed from dead body this person. Finally, he was ordained. He became a good monk. It is said he became an arahant. The technique used by the monk to heal him was forgiveness. To make mistake is human nature. Forgiveness is a divine attribute. We want to make the bad guys good, not torture them. I think that is the answer.
Are there any specific mindfulness techniques or practices that you feel can assist people in the process of letting go, the process of forgiveness?
I think that is compassion. Compassion. Forgiveness start with compassion. As a technique, he should practice loving kindness, not by like the government or like the ministers are giving relief for the prisoners. That is also forgiveness, but that is not we are talking here. It is not it is based on metta, karuna, mudita and upeksha. The metta, loving kindness, then compassion.
Okay.
And these things are the root of the forgiveness. Forgiveness really
So
means,
explain the 4 words that you said to us: loving kindness, compassion.
Yes, metta is loving kindness, and
Yes.
karuna. Karuna is compassion.
Compassion.
Yes, and mudita become happy with the other's happiness. Then upeksha, the equanimity, you have to you have to have very balanced mind.
Thank you. Anila, I want to ask you something about forgiveness and trust. So sometimes what happens is, if there's a pattern, if someone keeps repeating a pattern towards you, say, you might forgive them, but can you really trust them?
Well, I mean, when you understand someone's nature, then you probably should be intelligent enough how you deal with this person skillfully, So when you know the fire burns, the nature of fire is heat, and then heat burns. So then it's up to you. You're intelligent, and you're how you use it or how you come deal with it. I think besides that, how you trust or not trust, I think it's all up to you, and in your purpose, why you want to trust this person, whether what you need to do with this person. I think it's all up to you, I guess. So sometimes, sense of understanding or developing respect towards this person's miserable condition of not being able to deal with his own ignorance or in his own disability to really develop such behavior, which will cause well-being. I mean, which will be able to make people comfortable. For example, that which I was able to develop within me for my father was that, my father is suffering with such a disability which is not in his control. He was suffering much later on, I was able to understand and realize that he was suffering so-called, in medical term, the bipolar disorder thing, which was totally like 2 person in one person. So when I realized that, then I realized that it was not his fault, the way he behaved. He was not in his control. Of course, it's not easy because we are so habitualized strongly in the habit of, reacting the other way. And we love to blame others. And then we find solace in blaming others, thinking that I'm not the cause of the problem. It's somebody else who caused problem in my life. So you feel good when you think that it's not my fault.
So I saw this really interesting film yesterday. It's called Oppenheimer. And it's about the maker of the atomic bomb and how much guilt he felt later and how much self-blame he felt. So, Venerable Thera, tell me, what happens? How do we forgive ourselves? Because very often we forgive everyone around us, but we forget about ourselves. We hold grudges against ourselves.
Those who do not forgive themselves, they destroy themselves. Forgiveness should begin when the heart feels echo of the mistake. It should begin at that point. If not, there will be a temptation to punish the offense rather than to forgive. Then it's hard to turn back. So he should start forgiveness when he feels the feeling what he gets to his mind at the very first point, or at the beginning point. It is important to develop a forgiveness mindset. People sometimes, they are always hating themselves, and they are sometimes torturing themselves, but try to make the society happy. No. First of all, Buddha's advice is, first, you should become happy. You should become calm. You should become a good, healthy person. Then only you can help to the society.
I love what you said about those who do not forgive themselves destroy themselves. I think that is so powerful and so true. Is there a mantra or affirmation or daily exercise, something that you can teach us, which we can do every day, which will foster this attitude of forgiveness to others and to us, to ourselves?
Yes, indeed, there is a mantra. But for that, most important daily process in Buddhism is practicing loving kindness. That is the mantra. Not chanting, not charming. That is practicing one's mind towards loving kindness.
Anila, would you like to add something to that?
Of
That you
course.
can advise people to do?
Meditation is very, very helpful, and a lot of self-reflection is very, very important. And to listen to great teachers and the words of wisdom all the time is very important, I think. And then chanting is also a form of meditation that helps your mind focus on something very positive.
So I like to end these sessions normally with a quick rapid fire round to summarize the chat. So, Venerable Thera, one surprising benefit of practicing forgiveness.
Yes. The painful experience of perpetuating the bitter intention ends completely.
Anila, a challenge people face while trying to forgive someone.
Well, it's because of the addiction that we are so much in the way of thinking so negatively. So anything that is as an addiction, in order to get rid of it, it's very, very tough. It's very challenging. But the benefit of it is the most amazing thing that you can ever really experience. And this is from my own personal experience.
Thank you. Venerable Thera, a technique that can assist in the process of forgiveness.
Being a human being with high qualities. That is the technique.
Thank you, Venerable Thera and Anila. What an incredible chat we've had. We've covered so much ground. It's been amazing. Thank you so much for your time. I'm very grateful. Thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you learned something new. That was an amazing chat for me. I hope it was fabulous for you as well. Please press like if you enjoyed it. Please encourage your friends and families to subscribe to our channel, because in that way we can get more and more speakers and provide this service for free. And I would love to hear from you. So please send me an email with any questions, any topic suggestions that you have. My email address is anshu@wellnesscurated.life, anshu@wellnesscurated.life. And I also have these books of affirmations at Wellness Curated that we have published. And if you would like a copy of these, please get in touch with us. Again, Anshu at wellnesscurated.life. See you next week. Thank you.